The second wave of feminism that happened in the 60s
61 going up
70s,
yeah,
that has been detrimental to both men and women.
It came off from the success of the first one. Then the second one was like, you know what?
We can be men.
Yeah, we can do it better than men. We emasculated the man by empowering the woman. You're stuck up there.
Yeah.
Just like a seesaw. Men are reacting by staying away. They're saying, okay, you want this space?
Yeah.
Have it. See, we are nothing. Let's go and be nothing. When men feel like we are being shamed by the way the system is set up, then we have to bury that shame. So alcohol for us is not because we like the taste of ethanol. It's because we are trying to escape the shame that we feel.
We can start.
We can?
Yeah.
Great. Am I allowed to have my coffee?
Yeah, you are. Yes, absolutely.
Wonderful.
Absolutely. This is episode 16.
Ooh, you've been doing 15 already.
Yeah.
How long did that take you?
So I started off last year, July.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And episode 15 was in Feb.
Ah.
Yeah, with Willow.
Okay.
Whom we know.
Well, I've seen Willow before, so
yeah.
She's almost a co-host.
No, she really is.
Hi, Willow.
Hi. You can introduce yourself.
Yes. My name is Njogu. John Njogu. I'm a family man.
Yeah.
Married.
Yes.
3 kids. I do business in this city.
What type of business?
I'm in the energy sector.
Yeah.
In the petroleum subsector.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
that's serious business.
Well, it is very it's what runs this country. Yes, so I run an organization called Petroleum Outlets Association of Kenya, which brings together investors in the petroleum industry, local investors in the petroleum industry. I also sit in KEPSA.
Yeah.
As a vice chair of the KEPSA Energy Board.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where we are.
Okay.
Yes.
So how I know John is we went to the same church and we served in the youth ministry together. That was even looking back, a crucial part of my life where I really grew in both faith, character, and that humility.
Yeah.
I learned what community is, and I served under great leadership.
Yeah.
So that's how I know John. And when we were talking on the phone, I expressed to you that I really want to talk about things that, one, are relevant. 2, I do want to talk about God.
Yeah.
I feel like I've been running away from it, but here we are.
Oh man, he's ubiquitous. You can't run away from him.
No, you really can't. You go there and then you find a dead end and you come back and it's like, okay, here I am.
Yeah.
And this topic is dear to me.
Yeah.
And I just thought you're the best person to do this with because I think you have a really good understanding and in depth too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, it's leadership and culture. So the overarching theme would be leadership.
Yeah.
But first, I want us to discuss 3 things.
Yes.
So identity, family, culture, and then we can see how we can weave in leadership into these topics. Yeah. All right, let's go right into it, straight into it, yeah?
Those are big topics.
I know. So
incredibly big topics.
So let's see how we can narrow it down.
Okay.
Yeah? So
I like identity though.
Yeah. We were talking actually a little bit about, somehow we just ended up talking about identity. Okay. So I let me preface this. Maybe some of the people that are watching this don't have a Christian background.
Yes.
Some I think do.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to assume that they do.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to understand. I think it's obvious right now that there's an insidious attack on identity.
Yes. Definitely.
Right?
Yeah.
So for us to understand that, why is identity important? So important that it's been attacked. Yeah.
That's a brilliant question, because you're saying, look, this thing is so valuable.
Yeah.
That's why it's the thing that a whole culture is built on.
Yeah.
So why is it important? It's because it answers the next question after who am I is then why am I here? You know, which is an important question. And then it answers also the next question, which is what can I do?
Yeah.
What's my potential?
Yeah.
So if I mess up your identity,
Yeah.
I'm going to mess up your purpose for being here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to mess up your potential.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, then you do not accomplish, you know, or you do not fulfill what your dreams might be. So that's why it's attacked, because of its potency to be able to solve so many of your life's puzzles.
And other people's too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's why, you know, yes, I know we're not talking to, we're not in church. We're talking to a wide audience. But we were talking earlier about that biblical story about Jesus meeting Peter.
Yeah.
And how it goes that he asked them. In fact, he was in a place called Philippi. And he was passing through that village. He says, look, what are people saying about me?
Yeah.
You know,
who do people say
yes,
I am?
who do people say that I am?
Yeah.
You know, and all these guys were like, yeah, people are talking like this. Some are saying you're this. Some are saying maybe you're a good person. Some are saying maybe you're one of those old prophets. Others are saying, look, you're a remarkable teacher. And then he says, okay, then who do you say that I am? Leave alone what people say. And that's the question. Like, there's what people say you are. There's what your parents will tell you are.
The African culture, it's mainly based on pleasing the family.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's what the community will tell you.
Yeah.
And it molds you into something that says, no, you can't do this because you're this. You can't do. So it also has an identity for you. So it looks like every segment has what it wants you to be. It is holding out some form of identity for you.
Do you know what I've learned when I was researching this topic? I learned that culture, whatever it is, any culture in the world, is that it imposes itself on you. It does not ask for permission. It's like a fish in water. It doesn't ask what is water. It's like
it's in it. This is my environment.
Yeah.
And that's why it's a fight, because then if all these people have an opinion about who you are, then how do you make your opinion stand out about who you are? Isn't it just easy to accept, okay, fine, mom, let me take what you say I am.
Yeah.
Okay, fine, dad, let me take. How many people are in school today doing something they were told to do? You know? How many people are in jobs?
Were many tuko wengi. Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
Because this is, it's people seeing you from the lens of their own eyes. Yeah. So it's people driving their own, projecting their own frames to you. So getting back to that question, where Jesus is talking to Peter, he says, okay, then who do you say that I am? Then Peter says something incredible. He says, okay, you're Christ, Son of the living God. And what Jesus says is so fundamental, and I think it's important. Because he says this, he says, no man told you that. You didn't get it from here. You could not have gotten it from your neighbors. You could not have gotten it from your community. This has come from another space. It has come from another dimension. Or rather, it has come from a higher order. Yeah? And God has told you that. Like nobody else could have really told you who I am, except he was that sure. Right?
I never thought of it in the context of culture.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, so the identity could not be found within what everybody else was saying, what the culture was saying. Yeah? So he says, okay, then also let me tell you who you are. Then he gives Peter, at that time it was called Simon. Simon means a reed. You know the way you shake a reed. But then Peter means a rock. So Jesus says, okay, and you are Peter. You're a rock. Your identity, the community, the culture has called you a reed. You know?
Yeah.
But look, you're directly opposite.
Yeah.
Your true identity is diametrically opposed. It's actually a rock.
Yeah.
And still that didn't come from the surrounding culture. It came from somewhere else. So the question is, who you are today, did it come from what's around you, or did you push to get it from somewhere else? Because I can tell you, if you don't get that absolute truth of who you really are, then everything else is not going to be built on solid ground. Yeah.
Okay. So, that's pretty good. So, let's contextualize this.
Yeah.
I see two ideologies that, to me, that seems pronounced, that's affecting the Kenyan culture. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
So we have the African spiritualism.
Yeah.
People want to go back to their roots, the days of old.
Yeah.
And then there's the modern culture, amongst especially the younger generation, where it's the pursuit of reason.
Yes.
So basically, you are the one to determine what is good.
Yeah.
And good becomes relative.
Yeah.
That's why this, which I loathe, I despise this statement.
Yeah.
Do what makes you happy.
As though life is about you being happy all the time.
Yeah. So you have these two factions, I guess, ideologies. One is seeking from an outside source, though it might not be, it's misguided. And then the other is trying to find your identity from within.
Yeah.
But I think the second one, we can see how that's played out in the Western culture. Self-improvement. It's all about self.
Yes.
But there's this movement right now that people are saying, okay, self will fill me.
Yeah.
But I want something more.
Yes.
So why is it that African spiritualism is attractive right now? Spiritualism in general, but now African spiritualism.
Yes.
Where people want to connect to their roots. It's what we were talking about.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's big, because I think it comes from a place of betrayal. Let's go back to our history.
Okay.
So Kenya is
I love
what?
history.
You love history?
Yeah,
Kenya is 61 years old.
Yeah, we're young.
Yeah, that's a very young nation.
Yeah.
So prior to that, we were occupied in the late 1800s. So so if you were to go 1850 backwards, we were purely deep in our own sub-nations. And especially when you look at Kenya, what we call tribes are actually sub-nations. We have the Kikuyu nation, the Luo nation, the Kamba nation. Those were countries. They were not countries really, but nations. Like, there were formations. They had their own cultures. They had their. Then, fast forward, they are disrupted by colonization. This happened all around Africa. I think the only country that was not successfully colonized in Africa was Ethiopia and Liberia. I think they were not fully colonized. So you can imagine, when the European powers sat in Berlin in 1890 something, and they divided Africa, they actually looked at it like a pie and said, look, we the Germans will take Tanzania and several other countries, Namibia, that belt, or we the English will take Kenya, East Africa, then we the France will take West Africa. And so we have Anglophone, we have Francophone in West Africa, Anglophone this side, and others took, the Arabs said, for us, we subscribe to the Arab side. So there was this scramble for Africa. And what were these people bringing? They were bringing their own cultures. They were exporting their way of life, their thinking. So there was a clash and a war of this is who we are. Then you've brought us a new culture, and you have forced us to change, and adopt your culture. And we say things like, you need an English name. Think about it. If what's an English name? Is really an English culture put on your identity. So these guys came on ships carrying an identity. They say, this is your new identity. If you ever watched Roots, did you ever watch Roots?
Yeah.
And
I think everyone did. In school, it was like.
But it was so painful. Like, it was
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah,
But the idea is, these guys are telling Kunta Kinte,
yeah,
you're Toby. And the guy is like, no, I'm Kunta Kinte.
yeah,
And they beat him to break him,
yeah,
to give him a new name.
yeah,
What's that? That's a culture exchange. So you have this colonial system that comes into Africa, beats the living daylights out of Africans, exploits them, takes advantage of their goodwill, and many people die, more than they died in the Holocaust and all that, to change the culture. And so now we receive a new culture, and then we forget our previous culture.
Yeah.
Then we realize we are not satisfied with this.
yes,
So we are dissatisfied. So what do you do when you're lost? You go back to the beginning. So this is us trying to say, look, can we go back somewhere where we can
How it
regroup
was.
and
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean the African spirituality was right. It was ours,
yes,
but was it the best? I don't know. But the thing is, the reason why we want to go back to it is because we feel like something was robbed from us. Something was taken away violently. We were violated, and something was stolen from us, and we are trying to get it back. And that's why you find that rebellion, open rebellion to religion. Whether it's Christianity, whatever it is, there's an open rebellion to say, look, I don't want this anymore. I want something real, and I feel like this does not satisfy me. This is empty. So it's us going on a search because we are not satisfied. We were betrayed by what was handed down to us. So we're actually we're lost. We are actually lost. If we were to tell you the truth, we're a lost generation, and we are trying to find our way. And this is what is interesting about our discussion even of leadership.
Sorry, just put the mic up a little bit.
Sorry.
No worries.
And that's why that discussion is important, because you kind of need somebody to show you the right way,
Yeah,
because we are definitely dealing with being lost.
yeah,
The attack on identity is because it advances that control. What was colonization
power
for?
and control.
It was to control you.
Yeah,
And that's why we moved from colonization to neo-colonization. It's extending that control, and the fear of the controller is that if you find out how powerful you are, you're gonna break loose.
yeah,
So I have to keep hiding who you are from you, because the day you discover who you are,
yeah,
that's the day you go free.
yeah,
So what? I'm gonna invest heavily to make sure you never discover who you are. Let me give you a quick fact. In 1961, so African leaders meet in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, and Kwame Nkrumah says, look guys, let's not leave this meeting the way we came. Let's live with one Africa. Let's live and say, Africa is one. Let's figure out the politics after that, but let's unite now. Let's have one army. Let's have one bank. Let's have just one Africa.
kind of like Idi Amin. Not Idi Amin. What's his name?
Gaddafi.
Gaddafi.
Yes. And see, anybody who stood to say, Africa, let's unite, what happened to them? We don't know what happened. Yeah, we don't know where they are now.
Oh, but we do know.
We do.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. Yeah, that
yeah.
I think is the thing. So you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the controller never allows you to discover who you, because that's where your power is lodged.
Yeah.
Because the day you discover, oh my God, I'm this powerful.
Yeah.
It's like the animals in the zoo. The day they discover, I don't have to be in the zoo. I can actually just break through this fence and go.
Yeah.
So we are all afraid of that. So we have to keep showing them and entertaining them in that small space so that they never discover who they are. So that's why the attack is there.
Okay. So let's put a footnote on that, because we'll go back to that.
Yeah.
When we're talking about, we'll circle back when we're talking about truly about leadership. Yeah. So we have the secular culture.
Yeah.
And we've got the Christian culture.
Yeah.
The secular culture tends to, its nature is, what can I get from this culture. It there's a greed. There's an element of greed to it. It's what can I get? What can I gain the most out of it?
Yeah.
Christian, the Christian, I like to call it the kingdom culture.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so radically different because it's so radically different because what it tells you to do is it has to do with sacrifice.
Yes.
It has to do what you can lay down for God.
Yes.
It has to do with serving.
Yeah.
So maybe you can expound on that in how Christian culture is radically different and inverted from the secular culture, the worldly culture.
Wow. Okay. First, let me say this because I know it will help somebody.
Yeah.
Christian culture is not church culture.
Yeah.
And sometimes
that's
it's important.
I think you need to say that again. Yeah.
Because we have a church culture.
Yes.
Which is not Christian. It's man-made. It's 100% man-made, man-serving. It's fickle. It's frail, and that's what people are thinking, and that's why people are rebelling against this thing because they have tested it and they're like, no, this is so hypocritical.
And they get hurt too.
Yeah, and they get hurt a lot.
Wounded, yeah.
Exactly. Why? Because they did not encounter the Christian culture. They encountered the church culture. Yeah. So it was like some bait and switch. Like, come for this. Somebody calls you for chocolate, changes it, gives you a lousy mousse. You know, like this is not what I wanted. And so it's important for guys to know that many of the religions today, even denominations, church setup, they're man-made. They're really man-made. And they are also set up to control you. So rediscovering really what truly kingdom culture is so freeing because you realize, oh, I thought all this while this was what it was until I discovered this. Now, to go back to your question, is that when you look at the true kingdom culture, it has a center. It has a center of a man who came to show us an example of how to live. And that's why Jesus came. That's why he's the center of that culture. He's the head of that culture. And he says, look, I didn't speak from heaven. I came to give you an example. This is how I am. At one point, he was trying to wash his disciples' feet. You know? And Peter was like, no, you can't do this. And he says, no. Because this is my culture, I have to show you that the leader has to serve the most. So that many years down the line, when you look at a culture where the leader is being served the most, that's not my culture. So you'll be able to tell the difference. So he modeled that example. So we have an example already. However we want to look at it, however we want to call it. And I love what Mahatma Gandhi said. He said, when he observed Christ, he was like, I really want to be a Christian. But when he met Christians, he changed his mind. Yeah? Because it's like they didn't get the message of
being a disciple.
Yes, they didn't get it.
No.
So, and that actually repels people. So that's an interesting kind of way of looking at it. And that's how separate it is. The kingdom culture has an example.
Yeah.
The world culture has also its example. So you boil it down to a simple question. Which example are you following? You get what I mean? Like when you put those two examples, you can see how Jesus lived. You can see how...
And to emphasize that Jesus, though he became man and stripped himself off of
all that,
everything that is divine from heaven, basically. I like to say that he bankrupt heaven.
Yes.
He is the only person that will never fail you.
Yeah.
He'll always be there.
Yeah.
He is not frail.
Yeah.
He's not flawed.
Yeah.
He's not fickle.
Yeah.
He is lack of a better word, how do you even describe like God? Like my words literally they fail me.
Yeah.
And then you've got this
Yeah.
this other culture that is, though in of itself sometimes may not be bad, but it is flawed, it is frail, it is fickle. It demands a lot. Should we continue?
Yes.
Oh. We'll just continue. I'll figure this out. And so I think that's really important for I think people to know that when you compare those two things, one is
exactly, and indeed to look at the example.
Nintendo. Yes, sorry.
Is that Super Mario?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah, Super Mario Odyssey.
Takes me way back.
Yeah.
Trying to get that queen. Oh, it was a princess.
It was a princess.
Oh man.
Yeah.
And the mushrooms. Anyway, so like we do indeed have an example in the kingdom culture, and I think what we have to impress on people: look, don't give up your head in terms of looking at that example. Like, don't let anybody paint for you what that example is. Can you pick up the book? Can you look at the story? Can you look at that example? Because it's enough as an example to show you. Now, because that I think, and I talk to a lot of people, and people are not against Christ. They're against the establishment.
I'll need you to do something for me. Sorry, guys.
Okay, this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Till it's warm.
1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Good.
Yep. Then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So remember I told you, it happens.
Well, that's fine. Makes it more real.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like all these games are like they're internet based.
Some are, but we have the physical ones too.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's what, an Xbox?
PS4.
PS4.
Yeah, PS4 Pro.
Okay.
I really like her, Candace Owens. All right, so now let me put this video back and then we can resume. And we're back.
Yes, we are.
And we're back. Gosh, okay. So usually by now my phone would have told me that I don't have enough space.
Yeah.
Today I came prepared, man.
All right. That's good. That's cool.
Yes.
Yeah, we're back. So let's go. We're talking about tying it down to say, at least we know that there is the popular culture, and culture will influence your life. Let nobody kid you, because culture is framework, it's environment. And if you remember your biology, 80% of how you turn out is environment based. It's not even DNA based. So if you're
nature,
yeah. And that's why I like saying you have the world, but then you have your world.
Yes.
You have to figure out, I am in this big world, or what's my world like?
Right.
And I think growing up is the ability to build up blocks of your own culture, the culture that you want to live by. Yeah, and you're not gonna. The world is full of a myriad of cultures, many cultures, and that's why I think the best gift that somebody can give themselves is to travel, because it allows you to see different cultures.
Yeah.
Then it enforces what you believe.
Yeah.
Or it challenges what you believe.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we have to go back and say, look, let me question my culture. Let me ask myself the hard questions. What do I believe in? What kind of a culture am I oozing out?
Yeah.
And am I living in?
Yeah.
And how do I take leadership in that culture so that I can enforce what I believe and build my own culture around it?
So I want us to talk about family.
Okay.
Yeah. The fastest way to destroy family, a society, is to destroy family.
Yes.
I do believe that there is responsibility that men have been given to bear.
Yeah.
There's a weight.
Yeah.
And that I mentioned leadership has to do with sacrifice as well.
Yeah.
And But the other thing is, I think, especially with our generation and the younger generation, is that when you say a man is the head of the home, there's this idea. I think it's very misguided, or what's the word? Not misconstrued, misaligned, twisted. That it is about a man being oppressive. It's about tyrannical patriarchy. It's about dominance. But what God called men to do, especially in the context of family, is to lead, but also to serve. And it's a heavy weight, and it has to do with sacrifice. So how does the destruction of men and women's identity affect the family unit?
Oh my
That's
God.
a loaded question, yeah?
It is a loaded question.
So where do we start?
I think we can start by me saying that I have a family. And
that's why you're the right person to even talk to about this,
Yes, you attended my wedding. This is back in 2015.
Wow.
Can you imagine? We are 8 years in. Yeah, already. And so I'm married, and God has blessed us with children. We have 3 children, two daughters and a son. And what you learn is, until you start your own family, you don't exactly know the weight of what you've gotten yourself into. It's the only factory that produces human beings. So if you are,
which is wild that God would give us that that, what would you call it, responsibility to raise a human being? Like, that is insane.
It gives you a factory. It says, okay, this is a mini factory. Produce. So you can imagine, in any, look, this is a MacBook. If you look at their factories, wherever they are, they have to give them something called standard operating procedures, SOPs. And they have to say, look, if you're going to set up a factory, it has to be like this. These are the specs for everything. And the people will work in this, look like this. Why? So that we can produce as the same as the prototype we had in our master factory. And that's the idea. Like, okay, God gives you family and says, produce what I produce. So how are you going to make it if you don't take his SOP? His standard operating procedures. And I think that's where the cracks begin. We have redefined the factory. We said, oh, okay, the factory doesn't have to be one man and one woman, for example. Or the factory doesn't have to be us living in the same house.
Or let's redefine what marriage is.
Exactly.
Or what a woman is, or what a man is.
Yes. So we're redefining everything and then hoping that will produce the same
results.
The same. You see how funny it is?
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Like you redefine, you get the wrong machinery in. You get the wrong procedures in. You get the wrong workflow in. And then you say, oh, let's hope that at the end of the day, we're going to have the same thing as the prototype. It's never going to happen. Listen, one of the saddest things that I feel personally, this is just my personal opinion, the saddest thing that I have seen is a woman holding the hand of a child or children, and there's no man. Because as a dad, I can see the influence that I have in my home. I can see the joy that my kids get when I arrive. I can see what my attention means to them, what my approval means to them. I can see because I can see what the mom is doing, and I can see that if it was just her, how she would struggle, how the other half would be missing. And you can see how...
And now she has to take up your role.
And she can't. The only thing that will happen, it's like walking with one leg. So even if you work out your other leg, you're not going to walk properly. You need both legs for there to be symmetry. So that situation is so sad. And I know we are fighting terrorism, we are fighting drug abuse, we are fighting diseases. But if there's something we need to really pay attention to, is that family unit.
Like, where does it stem?
Yes.
Right back.
So the foundations are out of course, and therefore nothing is working as it should.
Yeah.
And so we are relegating this to government. And I think one of the biggest mistakes is to think that government is there to solve all our problems.
No.
It's not there.
No.
It's not going to do something for family. It will take families to do something about families.
Yeah.
It will take fathers to go back home.
Yeah.
It will take mothers to be humbled.
Right.
It will take people to fold their sleeves and work through complex problems and fix it. Because the problem again with family, going back to the analogy of the factory, you only have a short period of time to fix things. Because once the period runs out, you can't do much. And so we have now a generation that came from a not so optimal,
dysfunctional family.
Dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid that word, but let's just use it. From a dysfunctional place. So what do you do when you come from a dysfunctional place? It means you're dysfunctional yourself.
Yeah.
So and then you meet another dysfunctional person,
and then you
start
create another dysfunctional family, and then it's a cycle.
Yeah. So it's a perpetual cycle, and then we wonder what happened. Yeah. So I think we have to fix that. But then you are very specific about the man.
Yes.
Men have to be raised by men.
Right.
I'm just gonna have to say that.
Now say it. Say it again.
Yeah, men have to be raised by men.
Yeah.
And there are not enough men raising men. Now, because we are here to be honest, it's also incredibly hard in the space we are in to really build strong families when you're struggling financially, when you're struggling with not getting a job. So the environment itself, the macro environment, is so stressful. There's a lot of stress in the system that you don't have enough, in terms of attention, in terms of the strength and the willpower and the know-how to build a proper home. So we're talking about ideal situations, but we're not in an ideal situation.
No.
We don't have a meaningful job market in this country. So I speak to a lot of men, especially younger men, and they tell me, I want to get married, but I'm not financially stable, so I'm not going to get married, or I'm running away from that.
Yeah.
So in their head, they're like, until this is sorted, I don't know how to do this other thing right.
Right.
So that person is already under stress. Then you meet a partner who's like, no, for us, let's just do this. And so you begin from a place of stress. So even as we talk about fixing that factory, the home, the family, we have to think about then, do we have a proper environment where proper families can also thrive, can also come up? Because men are built differently from women.
Yeah.
So men react differently to stress. And so what you're finding is, like we were talking yesterday about the seesaw. We've had the feminist movement starting from 1938.
Yeah.
Coming all the way.
Yes. But I think the second wave of feminism that happened in the 60s
61 or going up
70s, that has caused a lot of has been detrimental to both men and women.
Yeah. Because you see, it came off from the success of the first one. That looked at roles.
Yes.
Looked at, okay, fine, women also can do this. Women can vote. Women can. Then the second one was like, you know what?
We can be men.
Yeah, we can do it better than men. So the idea was then, let's replace men, and just do it. So what happened is we emasculated the man by empowering the woman.
Right.
And so now you're stuck up there.
Yeah.
Just like a seesaw. You know how a kid is stuck up there
and
because the weight is down?
Yes.
And they're trying to cry, I want to come down, I want to come down. And then I don't know how to come down.
Yeah.
That's where we are. So you've had an empowered... I just graduated the other day. In my class, we were 4 men.
What? Yeah. Out of how many?
The cohort was 50 plus. 4 men. Where my kids go to school, there is only 2 male teachers. So when I say it's a crisis, it is a crisis.
Gosh.
It's that. So men men are reacting by staying away. They're saying, okay, you want this space?
Yeah.
Have it.
Right.
See, we are nothing.
Right.
Let's go and be nothing. Because the pain, oh man, I was looking at the pain metric.
That is, yeah.
People are more afraid of shame than of physical pain. That's why you'd walk with a shoe that is pinching you.
Yeah.
Like, because you're more afraid
Yeah.
of shame
Yeah.
than you are of physical pain.
Yeah.
So when men feel like we are being shamed by the way the system is set up, then we have to bury that shame. So alcohol for us is not because we like the taste of ethanol on our tongues.
Yeah.
It's because we are trying to escape the shame that we feel.
Yeah.
And women don't have the tools to pull these men out.
Alrighty, watch this next episode.